Well, I'm joined by Martin from Bushy's here. It's the sort of morning after the news broke, it was late last night, that you put on your website that you had lost the tender, the contract for operating what has been your pitch down there on the promenade for 20 years. I think we started the ball rolling. I think you were the first press we did about this whole thing about waiting for the tender to come up.
Yes.
It didn't at that stage, but suddenly, magically, after a bit of press, it did. Even then, when I interviewed you, I could read on your face you thought there was going to be a big competition. And we'd heard off the record who we thought it was. Now it's been confirmed, the Hooded Ram, this sort of new boy on the block. So, obviously, just your first views on having your tender rejected.
Well, I suppose we've put together what we considered a competitive tender. We know what that site can generate and how much rent we could, or any sort of business that's trying to actually make it a viable business would be able to pay down there. I suppose, you know, at the end of the day, we're in the real world. Money does talk, and if somebody can come in and make an attractive offer to the corporation, then I can see how they'd go with it.
Of course, we don't know their plans. I mean, I don't think there's been any press yet on what's happening in the sense of maps and charts, but obviously the corporation must know what they've pitched for.
Yes, you would imagine so. I'm guessing that they would have had to put that in their proposal.
What was the tender document? Was it just you telling them what you'd do, or did they tell you what they wanted?
A mixture. It was a mixture of them stating the requirements of and certainly outlining what's previously happened down there in the past. And and then it gave the opportunity to make a proposal and outline plans and so forth. Okay,
so their model might be completely different. We just don't know. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You go in there with what you've done. I mean, I suppose it's changed over the years from what the basics start. Every year you sort of change things around. They're giving the mood music that they want to make it more family friendly or whatever. Did you have a raised eyebrow on that sort of?
Well, sort of. I mean, yes, it's evolved in our time since we went. Our original plan was to try and to reproduce what was originally there at the old Bushy's pub, which we operated for 14 years before the lease expired there. And we've continued to try and sort of put on exactly what was in the pub, i.e. live music and food, and basically one of the important things in our mind was the ethos of keeping it at pub prices. This year, for instance, we could still get a pint of Bushy's for £3 down at the Bushy's tent. With hindsight, maybe that was part of our problem. Maybe we should have considered whacking the price up to a higher level, which in turn could have been passed on to the corporation.
Actually, that's an interesting point. I mean, in the day, it's like when Sky bought into the Premier League, and prices obviously for paying this sort of thing, and it's gone up and up and up and up. That could be the case that actually the end user will end up having to pay, but we don't know. But it could be more for the drink. It's not the first time we've had competition, though, is it, on the promenade? I mean, there was this thing down at the War Memorial for a few years. The government were running that one, or they put it out to. I know it went to Henry Briley, didn't it? But they came up with the idea of having some other rival venue.
Yeah, which. In some ways we didn't mind seeing that. We do have a view that the more things happening in Douglas, the better. It can bring more people, certainly get them in off the campsites and bring people in for a full night out rather than, I suppose we do feel that when it's just us, as in this year, there is a limited amount of things to do in Douglas, and if it's just the Bushy's site, that does restrict people's entertainment. So yes, we don't mind rival, if that's the word, or alternative entertainment. I suppose I'm a bit disappointed that Hooded Ram couldn't have instigated their own thing, and they had to sort of basically come in and to take what we started, and basically, I know that they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and I suppose we would take it in those terms.
I mean, to put on, to put the other side of this, I mean, it's a business, you make money, and somebody else is wanting to go at that, and the corporation probably have to take the highest bid, do you think? I mean,
to a degree, yes. I mean, I thought that a big part of the tendering process was to demonstrate what previous experience applicants had, and to see what what they could offer. They've obviously they've obviously pitched it well, and they can. Anyway, I suppose at the end of the day, the proof will be the proof of the pudding will be in the eating.
Right. Well, I mean, Hood and Ram seems to have come up and up. I mean, the new building you see on the promenade, it's said that it's got ex-political members now working for that company, well-known persons, and that's what I don't know if that makes any difference or not. But there's certainly, I get the feeling there's a lot of money. Would you say?
It appears so.
Involved in the sense of this company's not just a start-up; it's obviously owned by a well-known gentleman from Oddbins, wasn't it?
That's right. No, as you say, they seem to be well-funded, well-connected, and they're obviously they're on the march. But as I said, it's I'd have thought that if they've got their own ideas and their own plans, that it would have been. I personally would have had more satisfaction if I was in their shoes of starting my own, or instigating my own rival operation rather than just sort of muscling in. But that's me. You've
got to find a landlord yourself now. I mean, you talk to people.
We are,
and you've got these sites really clamouring for you to, keep going and all sorts of things. You've got a lot of support. I mean, I know you're going to tell us today, but you've obviously been thinking about it for some time, Plan B, have you?
Yes. I mean, yes. I think when the corporation were stalling on their, putting the site out to tender, we had to look around. It was, it would have only been sensible to look for alternatives. We didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, so we felt we needed to. But we've, as you say, we've had amazing support. We're so grateful for everyone's, messages of just goodwill and everything. So we're very hopeful that that the new site will be bigger and better.
And would this site be on the promenade?
I can't really.
No?
It would be too early to say, Paul. We've got several places to look at. As I said, I think previously we've had a couple of places which have come out of the woodwork which we'd never thought about. So
are people coming to you?
Yes, we've been approached by a couple of sites. So we're going to look at them all very carefully, and come up and hopefully with good with good thoughts, and we'll come up with the right ones.